What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Vinland Saga review. I actually really did enjoy this chapter. This is a review of chapter 180 of Vinland Saga. Just in case it was bothering anybody that I'm not on camera in this video, my video camera battery was not charged. Instead of waiting around for it to charge, I just figured I'd go ahead and make the review anyway. So hopefully I'll get away with being able to show some manga panels without getting some kind of copyright strike, but we're going to see what we can do. Now, one thing I have to say is that I am really enjoying the direction of where the story is going, specifically with this chapter. As some of you guys know, I have been kind of critical of the Vinland arc of Vinland Saga, just because I know the high points that this series can reach, and I know the quality that Makoto Yukimura can put into the story, and I feel like some of it's been lacking recently. However, this particular chapter is a very good kind of setup building block of progressing the story forward and everything that's going to happen here within Vinland, and I'm very excited. There's a lot of different character dynamics going on in this chapter. Though it's a very simple chapter and not a lot happens as far as maybe the main plot line goes, there is a lot of unique character dynamics that are happening here, as well as I definitely have to praise the artwork within this manga. The way that Yukimura drew the scenery, the backgrounds, the landscapes, and just really kind of immersed the reader, or at least very much immersed me, into this feeling of the sun being high in the sky, the wind moving through the trees, and just the kind of beauty that the nature of North America actually does have. You know, when you're away from all the cityscapes and you're actually in the countryside. I live in a more rural area, and there are definitely places within the woods that I go into to kind of relax, meditate, and chill out, and this feeling that he was able to portray through the artwork in this manga actually really reminded me of like Vagabond or something like that, where the scenery is sort of like another character within the story. And not that Vinland Saga artwork hasn't always been really good, but this chapter in particular, I felt like there was a lot of time and attention spent into the detail of the forest and the trees and the woods and the rivers and everything, all of the sort of like nature and scenery that we're going to be surrounding ourselves in, which is also very good for storytelling because it gives a sense of scope and a sense of scale. There is actually like a pulled back shot where we get to see the ships moving into the harbor and everything. Well, it's not a harbor yet, but within to the Bay Area and everything. And so I definitely want to credit that. I think the artwork in this chapter was phenomenal. Now, as far as the storyline of this chapter goes, so in the last chapter where they had kind of docked off before, they saw an arrow sticking out of a hut, and Thorfinn wants to find an area that does not belong to anybody. In fact, he has 5 criteria of where the settlers should settle down, most of which involve sort of the practical means of having a bay area, having clean water, having a bunch of trees where you can chop down and use the wood for various supplies. But his main point, his main rule is that he wants a place that does not belong to anybody else, not infiltrating on anybody else's territory, and finding a place that is all their own so that he can avoid confrontation. And I really like the conversation happening between Thorfinn and Aviar. Aviar is the dude, he's the one that really kind of harped on Thorfinn about bringing weapons, and Thorfinn said no, and they have smuggled them aboard, I do believe. We don't get to see that in this chapter, though. And he's really questioning Thorfinn about all these different criteria, about what he wants, but there's something unique going on about it where he is looking to Thorfinn. Thorfinn is the leader, and he's respecting him as the leader. However, he does have valid concerns himself. And he's not shy about bringing them up, so he definitely has like an inherent sort of like alpha male leader vibe to him as well. And I think the confliction between him and Thorfinn's theologies or philosophies will probably be a big factor in this arc. And also the fact that Thorfinn is really far on the pacifism side, to the point where this could definitely be a detriment to his crew, to his settlers. The fact that he decided no weapons whatsoever. They're at very much of a loss if they are on the defensive side, and this character sees through that. And so, like, there is a middle ground here that I think can be reached between these two characters, but as of right now, they're kind of on opposite ends, though they both have that leadership quality to them. We also get a great scene with Einar where he decides, yes, I can grow some wheat here. And if there's something I want to see about Vinland Saga we haven't seen in a while, is I want to see Einar grow some fucking wheat, man. I miss Einar. I miss him being like a very prominent, fully functioning character. We just haven't gotten that in a while. And so, like, I want to watch Einar farm, man. Can we just do that? Can we just see that again? But yeah, the main crux of this chapter comes towards the latter half of it, where Thorfinn and Hild decide to kind of take a walk through the forest on their horses in order to see if there's any kind of remnants of other settlers being here, either a bonfire or footsteps or anything like that they can find to see if this area belongs to anybody. Now, again, I'm not the biggest history buff in the world, so I'm not going to go on any sort of actual kind of written history of this era or anything like that. I'm pretty much just going on the storyline itself, but I do believe that Native Americans, at least for the most part, weren't too sedentary. Like, they did kind of travel around and whatnot. But I'm not sure how much emphasis is going to be put on that. I'm not sure if we're going to actually see like a settlement of the Native Americans or anything like that, or if they're just going to be kind of passing through. But I do like this build-up that we're having here, where Hild and Thorfinn are going through the forest, and they do hear rustling in the distance, and we kind of see like far off in the distance, the characters don't see it, but we as the audience do see one of the Native Americans there. And so Thorfinn decides to leave sort of a gesture of goodwill, leaving some food for them to kind of show that, hey, we come in peace. We're not your enemies. We're not going to fight you or anything like that. We're going to leave you a peace offering and then sort of take off, and you guys can follow us, is sort of the intention here. And what I really like about this is it's going to be that sort of cultural divide, that cultural difference of things might not mean the same thing to somebody else that it means to you, and this lack of communication, this inability to speak the same language, this inability to understand what is considered a good gesture or a bad gesture. Look, and I'm not saying that it is a bad gesture for Thorfinn to put food down here, but this could be also food that they're not used to, and they might also not necessarily take it in the same way that Thorfinn is meaning it. Perhaps they could take it as some sort of an insult. Perhaps they could take it in a way where they believe that these characters are going to be bringing this sort of strange, weird food here that they don't want. There could be many different ways that they could interpret this, and this is what I like about it, because this is humanity in a nutshell, right? Because this is like coming from different cultures, different areas of the world, different skin colors and everything. Like, there's so much difference here, and like the ability to actually be able to communicate and understand each other is crucial, as far as like to not misconstrue something as a plight or an enemy attack or anything like that. So what Thorfinn is doing is a great idea, but I feel like in a way there's going to be something that happens that kind of gets misconstrued. There's going to be something that happens that's going to make the natives take this in the wrong way, or when the natives either do follow them back or something like that, there's going to be something that happens that starts a confliction between the two types of people. And again, if Thorfinn's crew is deciding to settle here like permanently for like a permanent settlement, and again, if the way that the natives do things is that they sort of travel from area to area and they don't actually own anything, they don't believe in like the ownership of the land or anything like that, there could also be problems there. And like part of it just feels ominous too. Part of Thorfinn's just kind of overly optimistic rationale when it comes to this, and the fact that he thinks that this is going to be great. This is great. They're going to understand. They're going to take the food. They're going to follow us. We're going to create peace and everything. This will be fine. And even Hild is sort of like smirking at the idea. She's like, yeah, maybe Thorfinn really does have this all figured out. And I feel like this is so dangerous, so dangerous as to what could potentially happen here. But and that's why I really like this chapter, and that's why I like this cliffhanger here, and that's why I like this progression of the story and the way that it's building here, because Thorfinn is... and I don't think he actually is that confident. I think there is a bit of a false confidence going on with Thorfinn. I think because for Thorfinn, this has been his dream, his goal, his ambition to create and to make happen, to get to Vinland and create a society of peace. And so, like, there's an aspect of it where I feel like he is fooling himself into thinking it's going to be this easy, into thinking that, oh, all we have to do is just go a little further south, or all we have to do is just give a peace offering. Like, I feel like there is an aspect to him where he knows that part of what he's doing is foolish, that there's going to be something that goes wrong, but he has to kind of like trick himself into believing that everything is going to go right no matter what. And I really like that idea for his character, and I really want his character and his philosophies to be put to the test as hard as he possibly can, because I feel like that's where Thorfinn needs to be right now. As far as everything that he's gone through and coming up with this philosophy of pacifism and nonviolence, how far can that last you? How far can you go in that direction before You have to find some sort of balance. So I really liked it. But anyways, guys, yeah, so that's what I thought about chapter 180 of Vinland Saga. I really enjoyed it. Curious to see where it's going to go from here. I don't know if the natives will follow them back in the next chapter. We might see more of them kind of like lurking and peering from the shadows and observing before anything goes down. Also, there is a little bit, not of confliction in the group, but as far as the leadership skills go, yeah, Ivar is the character's name. You know, he definitely has some leadership qualities to him as well, and so we're gonna see how his philosophies kind of like stack up to Thorfinn's also. But anyways, guys, I really like this chapter. What did you guys think about it? If you read it, if you're following Vinland Saga, what did you think about the chapter? Please leave all your thoughts, theories, comments down below. What do you think is gonna happen next? Where do you think this is gonna lead Thorfinn and the settlers versus the natives, and how they're gonna respond to each other? Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to give it a like, a thumbs up, comment, subscribe if you want to stick around and see some more. Also, check out the links in the description below for my Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, and Discord. All that fun junk is in there. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next time.